Hi friends, my name's Georgie. The warmest of welcomes to the Just Breathe podcast. Whether you're a first-time listener or a regular, it's so good to have you here listening in on some powerful conversations. And today you are in for a real treat. I'll be talking all things breathing to help empower you guys to use the power of your breath to harness your bodies and minds. In today's episode, I'll be chatting to Hana, both a journalist and Wim Hof instructor, who actually wrote a book for the Iceman himself. Hana and I had such an insightful conversation, and I learnt so much, and I know that you will too. Hana really delved into what the essence of the Wim Hof Method really is, and why it's had such an impact on so many people across the globe. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It really helps to keep growing our breathing community. The more people talking about the power of the breath, the better. Now, let's get on with the conversation. I'm so excited for you to be listening in on episode 5 of Just Breathe with Hana. Hey Hana, welcome to the Just Breathe podcast. I cannot thank you enough for coming and speaking to me today. I'm so excited to chat to you. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation, and really looking forward to the discussion today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really want to jump right in with your breathing journey and how you came to find the Wim Hof method and become a Wim Hof instructor and then write for Wim Hof. What a crazy journey. I'd love to hear how that unfolded.
Well, the beginning was quite weird, I have to say,
Really?
because meanwhile I learned that, because usually people they actually try to look for something, a method or something, and end up with Wim Hof.
Yeah.
But my case was weird because I wasn't looking for anything. I was quite happy before I found the method. The
What
thing
kind of
was that
methods were
I
you
was
doing?
basically sent for business. Nothing special really, just I felt healthy. I felt I felt good, so I wasn't really looking for anything else to add to my life.
Gotcha.
A routine or anything,
Yeah.
I didn't have the need. Like a couple of years before I started with Wim Hof, I changed my diet, and that helped a lot in terms of health.
Right.
And I was happy with it, so I wasn't really doing anything or looking for anything else.
Right.
But I was sent for a business trip to Wim Hof's week-long winter travel, which is like a training camp for his method, where you learn the cold exposure exercises, you do a lot of breathing, you work with mindset.
Right.
And I was not looking forward to that, I have to say. I was actually really scared and worried because before I watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and
people jumping in ice and crazy hikes up snowy mountains in your underwear, right? And was that in the Netherlands, that week with Wim Hof you did?
That was in Poland.
Oh, in Poland,
actually,
right?
Because, winters in Poland are more intense if you're in the Karkonosze National Park, south of Poland. So you want a lot of snow, a lot of cold water.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I had zero motivation,
Right. You're just you're being sent there. I didn't know you were sent there. It wasn't your choice.
Myself. Yeah, it wasn't my choice. Plus, I considered myself one of those people that aren't really built up for cold.
Right.
I liked winter, but I was always cold.
Right.
During winters, I was constantly cold, wearing a lot of layers of clothes.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine, just jumping into river with 1 degree water.
Whoa. Yeah.
But it was basically a job, really. My boss sent me there because that was 2016, and in the Central Europe, Slovakia, Czech Republic, people didn't know much about the method. And
Right.
he tried it and he loved it. He saw a lot of
Right.
results. So he just wanted me to spread the word. I was writing for him articles for his website,
Yeah.
anything about health. So
Mm-hmm.
he just wanted to add this. So
Right.
first he would just send me there. He told me to observe, to do interviews, to talk to the participants, the
Right.
instructors, Wim Hof,
Yeah.
anyone basically, and
Mhm.
just compile all the information and then write articles.
Right.
But then the day before I was supposed to go, he changed his mind, saying, how are you going to write about this if you don't try it? So
Oh.
forget about observing and just do everything that the rest of the
Oh,
people
so
will
he
do
he
there.
literally threw you into the deep end there.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
he didn't forget to add, I almost died on the mountain,
Oh my
which was
goodness.
not the best teaser.
Great. He's really selling it to you
Yeah,
there.
and also, yeah, he was. And also, he said that there's so much about this method that it's worth to write a book about it instead of articles.
Right.
So he asked me to write a book, which I've never done before.
Wow.
So
And that
two
was Wim
huge
Hof.
challenges
Wim
before
Hof that
this
asked you to write the book?
basically business trip.
Yeah. That was Wim Hof that asked you to write the book, or was it your
Yeah,
boss from the
yeah.
magazine? Oh,
That
great.
was basically my boss agreeing with Wim that
Mm-hmm.
I should write a book about it instead of
Wow.
just articles. To compile
Wow.
everything in one piece.
Yeah.
But he was also, I have to say, he was very very smart about it because he didn't want anything long. He just
Right.
wanted a story of someone going through the method from
Right.
the first step with zero experience before. Just because there
Yeah.
have been books written before and on theory, on the technique and so on, but he just wanted the experience, and Wim agreed with that it was a good idea to just show people the experience of someone who had zero preparation,
From the
zero
beginning.
motivation
Yeah,
to try the
that's
method and see
incredible.
what happens.
Yeah, I think the power of storytelling, actually, one of the reasons I love doing this podcast, I think it's one of the oldest known ways to connect with many people through telling a story and hoping that in
Mm.
sort of noting down your experience, they'll experience something as well, or be sort of inspired to go and have the experience themselves. So I think storytelling is a really, really powerful tool there.
Yeah, I agree 100% because people love stories. The book, any book can be really good, but unless there's a story, mo- like the vast majority won't want to read it. And
Right.
the intention of this book was to inspire, to get more people to do the method, to try it.
Right.
So we had to be smart about it. So one thing was to like put it all somehow in a story, and the other one was to write a short book, a small
Right.
book,
Right.
so that even people who don't like to read would actually grab it and have a look at the text. So
Right.
my boss was really really smart about this, I have to say.
Yeah. So I'm so intrigued to know, because it's at the top of my list to do a weekend with Wim Hof, or a week with Wim Hof. I'm so dying to do it and to try it. But obviously, a huge part is cold exposure and going into the ice bath. And I am fascinated to know what that first experience was like, going into the ice bath. What was that like?
um so just the short intro, I have to say that water here in Central Europe in summer is around 25 degrees in lakes and
Right.
rivers. And I was always struggling getting into it. Like all my
Right.
friends, when we went for a
Whoa.
swim, all my friends were in, and it took me, I'd say, like 3-4 minutes to get in with the whole of my body.
Right.
So, with that in mind, I couldn't really imagine to go in water that is 2 degrees, because I had that
Yeah.
impression of cold water,
Hmm.
thinking, okay, this is going to be 24 times worse than in
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah, scary.
But I have to say that it was scary, but also when you do things like this in a group
Mm.
and you see other people going through the same experience,
Mm.
I wouldn't say that it's like mass hysteria or something, but
Right.
it does reassure you that, okay, he's doing that and he's doing that, and they seem to be struggling a little bit, but they are going through it. They are coming down. When you
Yeah.
see other people in an ice bath. So yeah, when I was asked to do my first ice bath, it was December. It was cold. It was
Ooh.
dark, and it was outside. There were no stairs leading to the pool. It was just like a
Oh,
concrete hole in the
wow.
ground.
Right.
It was not appealing at all. And it was already crowded basically, because I was waiting for a couple of minutes, to just
Right.
decide to do it finally.
Right.
But yeah, and I entered the pool. Since there were no stairs, I was straight there till my waist.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Oh my
remember
goodness.
the first impression being that it's really cold, that it's really, really cold,
Right.
but it's
That
not
shock.
that different. Yeah, but also that it's not that different from the cold that I experienced in the summer. That it's still basically the same
Right.
impression. Okay, this is cold. This is really cold,
Right.
but it's just that. It's just cold.
Yeah.
So in a way, it was like it wasn't that new, even though I've never done any of ice bath, or not even I hadn't had cold shower before that.
Whoa.
I was 27. I
Yeah.
just didn't like cold water, so
Right.
really zero training. And I
Like many of
remember
us.
I
Yeah.
entered water, and yeah,
Mm.
I'd say so, yeah. And yeah, I entered the water and it was cold. It felt really cold, but like for the first 15, 20 seconds, I thought, okay, this is cold, but if that's it, I'm fine with it. I can deal with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And only then I realized, when an instructor told me, Hannah, come on, go till your neck. I only then realized that I'm still standing and that
Oh,
everyone else is down in the water till their necks.
right. And
Um,
had you done some breathing work before you did the cold exposure? Had
so
you some guidance?
So everyone else has, but I came one day later. So I
Oh.
missed the
Oh,
introduction.
oh
I missed the
no.
breathing technique. I missed everything. Yeah, which I did remind to the instructor, but he
Right.
was like, "Oh, just get your swimsuit and let's go."
Oh, right. Right. Right.
So that was it. So basically, no preparation for that.
Whoa.
And yeah, I have to say that when I was supposed to put this part of my body in the water, it
Mm,
was very intense.
really?
It for a while, it did feel like I can't take a proper inhale,
Whoa.
but also almost immediately, for the first time in my life, I had that experience of like empty head, no thoughts,
Really?
nothing, just really that impression of all your cells being alive, of the whole body like screaming that,
Wow.
okay, I'm alive, I have to deal with this, I have to somehow struggle and maybe calm down, just
Yeah.
work with this situation in this present moment.
Sitting in that
So it became
discomfort.
very, very intense.
Mm.
Yeah, like the level of discomfort was very high. But then I had this instructor Dominic by my side, and he just kept repeating, Hannah, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. You need to calm down. He was just repeating, calm down, relax your shoulders, just relax, just relax.
Mm.
And I couldn't believe it. But the moment I actually reached that state of relaxation, I
Yeah.
stopped being cold. I did shake a
No
little bit,
way.
but it wasn't like that strong impression of being cold like I had when I entered. So it was fascinating, and the rest of the week was basically the same thing. I was just constantly surprised with all the exercises, of how, I wouldn't say how easy they were. They weren't easy. They
Right.
were like a huge doses of discomfort, but they were possible to do for basically anyone. There were 70 people, you know, from their 20s to their 70s in all kinds of physical or mental state. And
Wow.
everyone managed, basically everyone managed everything. So it was
Wow.
so surprising.
That's
First, like to see
huge.
yourself do, yeah, it's like the support, not, you don't even need to talk to people, ask them about their experience. Just seeing them doing all those kinds of things is really inspiring and also reassuring that yes, you can do it. Yes, we can do it. It's built in your biology, basically in your physiology. You're built to do these things. So it's
Wow.
just nice, especially from the beginning, to see that it is possible for like most majority of people. It is possible. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
and that's a big thing of
but
the Wim Hof
it
technique.
still surprises me, I have to say.
Yeah, that's a big thing of the Wim Hof technique, right? That we are born to be exposed to the cold. We are born to survive the cold. It is something that is meant for every single being, and
Exactly.
we're all capable of it. And that's incredible. And that so you were there with so many other strangers. Did you find that you actually bonded with a lot of people doing the week with Wim Hof because you were going through such a big
Mm.
experience together? Did you find a lot of connection with different people?
This was another huge surprise for me, I have to say,
Really?
because I'm an only child, and I
Right.
like, I think I'm quite social.
Yeah.
I like people, I like meeting people, but I also need more time to get close, you know, with someone, with anyone,
Right.
basically. So the idea of going there, spending 1 week with 70 people, doing everything and talking to them all the time because I had to do the interviews,
Yeah.
that was basically almost equally scary as the ice baths themselves. But um, again, another surprise, like the very first evening when we took the ice bath and we shared the fears, the struggling,
Yeah.
everything, you know, it was, I couldn't believe how fast we bonded. We were in
Right.
groups of 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
and then with the whole 70 people, we did just one or two exercises, but usually we would be divided in groups of 20.
Right.
And yeah, I couldn't believe it. And it's the case of every single workshop, Wim Hof Method workshop, I have to say. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 day workshop or it's weekend workshop or it's winter travel of 6 days, it always happens.
Right.
And my theory is that it's because you don't have to, like, you know, at work or somewhere, you're pretending that I think everyone does it to a certain degree, that
I
I'm fine
agree.
with
I
this. Okay,
agree.
I'm calm. I'm not stressed out. I can do this. We can do that.
I
But
agree.
over there, it's impossible not to show the fear. You know, if you're scared, if you are hesitating, if you really don't want to do something, like you're showing all your faces basically in 1 day. So you get to know people very, very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And you,
Amazing, because then you bond very quickly. Like there's no space for
mm,
chit chats,
yeah.
no time,
Yeah.
no
And
space for that.
it's such a raw experience as well. I mean, both being a Wim Hof instructor and that first time being a participant in that week with Wim Hof, you must have seen some
Mm.
profound transformations and discoveries, because I could imagine putting yourself in a situation like that in an ice bath when it's already freezing cold anyway where you are, that people are coming face to face with their
Yeah.
biggest fears and discovering a strength. Like you said, every single person from 17 to 70 got in that ice bath. They're discovering a strength they probably never knew they had or thought they had.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think they were surprised themselves because
really.
before I went there, I thought, okay, who is doing this method?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, maybe some athletes, people that
Yeah.
like challenges, that
Yeah.
like, you know, adrenaline shots. I had this image of a really strong person who
Yeah.
wants to be
Just
stronger,
basically
who just
basically the whole
wants to
cast of
do
Ninja Warrior.
more huge things.
Yeah, basically the whole
Yeah.
cast of Ninja
So,
Warrior. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So that was my idea of a Hoffer, of people that were
Ah,
doing this method. But
yeah.
straight when I came there, I learned that so many people, I'd say like 70% of people that came there had huge health issues. Half of them mental,
Oh,
half of them physical.
really?
And, not like allergy, huge, huge issues. So, on the contrary, they were actually weak. They were really weak and they just wanted to get better. So, to just, bring the level of their life to just the next level, to live healthier life, happier life.
Wow.
So that was one thing that I really saw. Just it was really impressive to
Mm,
see people that were really basically lying most of their days in their bed because they had no energy to do
wow.
anything,
Yeah.
to come, to travel through half the world and do this that I was so afraid of doing,
Yeah.
me who considered myself healthy and in good
Yeah.
physical state.
Mm,
So that was really impressive to see all those people, even without, accepting their fears, accepting their state, but still doing all that
yeah.
discomfort, all those exercises.
Wow. That's yeah, that's incredible and just must be an incredible thing to witness. Now, of course, the Wim Hof method is become very, very famous now, years later, from when you were
Yeah, it's
first
it's a huge
writing.
difference actually. 4 years ago compared to 2020, it's a
Mm.
huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so obviously there's the Wim Hof app. A lot of people have been curious about Wim Hof and have tried Wim Hof. Um, but with the growth of Wim Hof, I know we were talking about this earlier, and with other breathing
Mm,
techniques as well, but especially because Wim Hof is quite an extreme technique. It's something that's quite a big experience. It's not necessarily sort of a very calming and very sort of uh relaxing experience. That it can have some relaxing effects, of course, but in
mm-hmm,
the moment it can be quite an intense experience. um and so there can often be
mm-hmm.
this sort of thing of Chinese whispers when a method gets so famous, right, that different people are trying the method out themselves, but actually have heard that, oh, this is how you do the Wim Hof method. Oh, this is what it is. Yeah, no, you just hold your breath for 3 minutes, right? Or
Mm.
and then you jump in an ice bath, or it's just having a cold shower, or it's just having this. So I'd love for you yourself as a Wim Hof instructor to really clarify what is the Wim Hof technique and the best way to
Mm.
apply it.
So, you're right. It's quite popular now, even here, I think all over the world, basically. And with
Mm,
that comes also the risk
yeah,
of people not doing it correctly.
yeah.
Because yes, it's very natural for us to breathe. It's
Mm,
very natural for a human body to be exposed to cold water.
mm,
But there are a lot of things that can prevent us from doing it correctly. It can be someone doesn't really know how to do it, teaching us the method.
right,
It can be our ego telling us do it faster, do it longer, stay longer in the water because
right.
he's there for 10 minutes. So, like, I'd always recommend to learn it either from an instructor or at least from someone who's been instructed by a certified person, because
Right.
I have a lot of people coming to my workshops that have been playing with the method for
Yeah.
months, let's say. I'd say 90% of them always tell me I've done the breathing in the wrong way. I haven't been breathing correctly.
Right. Right.
And it's not their fault. The thing is that the internet is full of especially YouTube. Like there are so many tutorials of Wim Hof method breathing.
Mm.
But just bear in mind that we as instructors aren't allowed to post instructional videos on YouTube. So that's
Ah,
basically a guarantee that the video that you find there is not done by someone who teaches the method.
right. So it's really important
So
to be careful then. And obviously
yeah,
the Wim Hof method,
because
it's the Wim Hof method itself, which I'm sure you're going to tell us more about in a minute. is one that is a stressor for the body. And of course, it's a controlled stressor, which can have enormous health benefits, as we've seen from so many people that have had amazing experiences with Wim Hof. But like you said, if we're stressing the body incorrectly, if we're stressing the body too much, or sort of in an imbalanced way, it can actually have the opposite effect and harm us more than it does us good, right?
Exactly.
Right.
This is one of the things that you really want to do, that it can be really healthy for you, but the doses is extremely important.
Right.
You have to learn what is the right doses, and of course the technique itself. But okay, so let's just start. What is Wim Hof Method?
Right.
Because what we usually see online are the pictures of people climbing mountains in their shorts,
Yeah.
bare chested, or just doing dips in a hole in a lake,
Yeah.
with ice all around you. So I really want to remind that this is just 1/3 of the method. It's a very important third, but it's not more important than the rest of the method, which is
Right.
work with mindset,
Yeah.
commitment, and then breath work, breathing. So
Right.
you need to balance these three things. And okay, if you can choose one, of course you can choose one, and that would bring a lot of benefits into your life, I'd say. But it's not Wim Hof Method, and
Right.
it gives you like one layer of what it is.
Right.
For example, here in Central Europe, cold exposure has been very popular for hundreds of years.
Right.
People are doing cold winter swimming, cold dips. No Wim Hof Method required,
Right.
basically. And it has a lot of health benefits just
Yeah.
by itself. But it's rather, I'd call that a sport
Right.
rather than healing method,
Mm-hmm.
because you're like working on your progress. You want to stay longer in the water, you
Mm-hmm.
want to swim for longer.
Mm-hmm.
With Wim Hof Method, all you need is 2 minutes in ice water. It doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or you've been doing it for 5 years. You can still do your 2 minutes if you want to, because those 2 minutes are gonna give you all the benefits that you can gain from cold.
Right.
So if you stay 4 minutes, it's not like you get twice as many health
No.
benefits. Not at all. Not
No.
at all. It's the adaptation of your body that you want. That's basically the most powerful part of cold exposure. When you're really feeling that you entered cold, when your heartbeat is, faster, when you're catching your breath, when your body has to adapt. That's basically the most powerful part, section of ice bath, and also the most, not the healthiest, but like the one that fortifies your health most, the
Yeah.
adaptation.
Yeah. It sounds
So yeah,
like,
that's cool.
yeah, it sounds like from hearing you talking actually that it's very much also about awareness. And this is something I was talking about the other day. I made a YouTube video on it about how if people are struggling with where to start with breathing, simply start with awareness. And it sounds like what you were talking about with the Wim Hof method, it's quite a mouthful actually, especially if you have braces like me, with the Wim Hof method, that actually awareness is also a huge part of it, which I suppose falls under mindset as well. But rather than trying to prove yourself by staying for 10 minutes in the ice, to actually go into the ice, listen to your body, take 2 minutes, and when you feel yourself and you're ready to come out of that bath, then to come out of the bath rather than to try and prove yourself. And the same with the breath holds, right? Rather than suffocating yourself to a point where you need medical assistance, to actually just listening to your body and coming back at a sort of place that you feel is
Absolutely.
right.
Very, very well said. That's precisely it. Because
Right.
if you want to just survive in cold water, you most
Yeah.
probably will, without any training, unless you have a really serious heart condition. You
Right.
can basically just fall into that ice bath, and you will survive for 2 minutes. But the question is, what experience is that gonna be, and are you gonna do it again?
Right.
What we want, what our goal is not to survive or somehow just wait, go through those
Uh-huh.
2 minutes, but to gain the highest possibility, the highest degree of relaxation still in the water, still in the ice bath. So
Right.
to relax as much as possible. That's the goal. That is the goal, not to just go through those 2 minutes somehow or anyhow, you know. And this is a challenge for a lot of people. It's challenge for
Right.
some. It's quite easy, I'd say. They gain that state after a couple of seconds,
Mm.
even during their first ice bath.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people it's struggle, and they get there somehow, basically towards the end of the second minute, but they have to work, they have to go through a lot of ice baths to really learn how to relax there.
Right.
But
Right.
that's the goal. I want to relax, and then the experience is different. It's not purely physical experience. That's why a lot of people with mental issues actually look for something in this method, because it brings an enormous release of thoughts or of emotions. It just calms you down a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always telling, if you want to do the Wim Hof method, do the three things, because it's different from cold exposure only. This is not purely physical method, not at all, not at all.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
50-50. And the breathing and the mindset are two keys that you have to use if you want to go through that ice bath calmly, if you really want to gain the most of it physically and mentally.
Mm. And so is it that the breathing, because when you're breathing, you're hyperventilating for about 30 breaths, right? Really taking some big deep breaths in and out, in and out, in and out, and
Correct.
then taking that sort
Mhm.
of elongated breath hold. So is that to energize and to up the energy, and then that second part, the ice, is actually to bring the relaxation? Is that sort of the journey of it? Because that's something I didn't know, actually, is that um I
Mm,
knew that the breathing was quite a stressor, and that with the meditation afterwards, if you sort of stuck around with it, you could find quite a relaxed and very open sense of clarity. But actually that makes a lot of sense, that by breathing and then by going into the ice, but relaxing into the ice rather than straining, that's when people
yeah.
have this profound experience. That makes a lot of sense.
It's funny though, because you're right. It is breathing experience that brings stress to your body.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a paradox also, because through that stress doses, you'll actually get to a very weird state of mind, which you can only describe as super calm.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is true. It is short stress. Like maybe you probably know the term hormesis. You
Mm-hmm.
get intense but short amount of stress, and it brings up all your stress levels like adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, which are hormones that are not that popular nowadays, because we all
Right.
think that we have plenty of them, even
Yeah.
without any technique. But
Yeah.
what happens with your body is that while they do go up during the breathing exercise, once you're done with it, when you finish, they go down, and they end up being in a lower levels than before. So that's why we recommend this method straight in the morning,
Ah.
because it actually puts you in a nice calm mood. Like you're happy, you're calm, you're ready for the day.
Mm.
So it's fascinating. It does
Yeah.
what you said, but also it doesn't feel like you're stressed. You're, in a way, you're
No,
just
no, no,
using
of
this
course.
technique to like hack your brain
Yeah.
and tell it, hey, you're under stress, behave like you're under stress. But meanwhile, you're just lying on your mat, maybe under the blanket, listening to nice music. But the
Yeah.
way you're breathing simulates a stressful situation. So
Yeah.
as soon as you stop breathing like that, you're suddenly going into a really calm, weird wave that a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
people enjoy and compare to things like psychedelics, maybe, or
Yeah.
meditational states.
Mm.
I don't know. I was actually discussing this with another instructor who is also a psychologist. So she has nice input into the method and into the breathing, and she says that it's like the breathing and the state of mind that it brings is something between consciousness, being
Yeah.
conscious, being unconscious, or both in sleep and being, it's strange, but it's very comfortable. People like it very much because it also gives you the feeling of having your head empty, just relaxing and not thinking about anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's probably worth actually clarifying that in breathwork, within my breathwork training, especially with the oxygen advantage, a stressor simply just means that you are consciously putting your body in a state of stress. It doesn't necessarily and shouldn't be stressful for the mind. It's purely because you are lowering your SpO2, the amount of oxygen that's in your hemoglobin, which is exactly what you're doing with the Wim Hof method, right? You are lowering your levels of blood oxygen saturation.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because those two techniques are quite different. The technique itself, I mean, but with Wim Hof method, through controlled hyperventilation, you basically get to under breathing. So it's funny because a lot of people are quite skeptical about the method precisely because we are saying that it's hyperventilation.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is, but firstly, it's controlled. So
Yes.
you can
Yes,
stop it
exactly.
or
Yeah.
slow it down anytime you want. But
Yeah.
also, once you're done with the breathing, you can notice, and people often ask this, is this normal? I feel like I don't need to breathe because you're like,
Yeah.
you do the inhale twice, you take 3 or 4 inhales per minute after the breathing.
Yeah.
So, yes, you do hyperventilate for, let's say, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
but then you actually need to breathe less,
Yeah.
take less inhales per minute,
Which
which
has
is
incredible
what we really
benefits in
want.
itself.
Yeah,
The breathing
exactly.
less, of course, has so many benefits, and
Yeah.
that's something Patrick McKeown at the Oxygen Advantage is a huge advocate of, is breathing less. And that quite beautifully actually brings us onto something else I wanted to talk about, which is the vast amount of breathing methods that are out there and that are available, and that I'm sure could actually be quite intimidating to someone who is thinking of starting a breathing practice or exploring breath work themselves, to know where to start. And I think there's a misconception there, and I know we were talking about this, that you have to pick one, and that it is one or the other, that it's either the oxygen advantage, or it's the Wim Hof method, or it's the De Rose meditation, or pranayama, or whatever, and that once you choose one, you have to stick to it, and you may not go to another method. And it's absolutely not the case. Many methods, of course, are for many different things, and I was wondering what your experience of that was.
Absolutely. Of course, I had to learn that too.
Yeah,
It
me
took me
too,
some
me
time to
too.
learn it. Because when you find one that suits you best, of course, you're at it of that one, right?
Yeah.
Because, okay, this one is perfect for me. It works for me every day, blah, blah, blah. But it's not like it's the only option. I'd say it's like when you go to a physiotherapist and you go there with ache in your shoulder.
Yeah.
You get a treatment for that, right? An exercise that works for your shoulder. Your knee hurts, you get a different treatment because it's a different part of your body, it's a different issue, and so on
Yeah.
with other parts of your body.
Yeah.
And with breathing techniques, I think it's the same because every single breathing technique was born or invented for a specific reason. We
Yeah.
take oxygen advantage, Wim Hof method, pranayama, all kinds. There are like dozens of breathing techniques.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all of them are great because I don't know all of them, but
Yeah.
I know a couple, and those that I've tried, I've liked.
Yeah.
And I use them for specific occasions. So if I want, like you said, if I want to energize myself, if I have a stressful day, I would go for Wim Hof. But
Yeah.
if I'm running outside, I want to do nose breathing. I want to use what oxygen advantage teaches because it
Right.
is for my advantage too. It's not like it's
Yeah.
against my ideology or something.
Yeah.
And if I'm, learning how to meditate, or if I want to clean my nose or anything, I'm using another breathing technique. So I absolutely agree. And it's a huge pity for people who are sticking to just one thing because it's like with sports. Okay, you like one, it's your favorite, but do you really do just that one kind of movement during your whole life?
Right.
It's not fun.
Right.
You want to try other things too.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Absolutely. And I mean, I think people, especially now more than ever, with the isolation that the pandemic has caused and all the lockdowns going on around the world has caused, I think people need breathing and breath work, conscious breathing more than ever. Um, right now. And obviously you are a teacher of breath work and of the Wim Hof method. And how has COVID and the lockdown affected your teachings and your ability to sort of provide and facilitate breath work for people?
Mm. So in spring, it did affect it a lot, the whole method, because obviously you need to be in social contact with them. When I'm guiding
Yeah.
people through ice baths, I'm
Yeah.
often offering them my palms, my hands. During the breathing, you are doing mouth breathing,
Yeah.
so it's not the best method to do in groups during COVID, like COVID spreading.
Yeah.
But the great thing, I was just telling a friend of mine, the great thing is that for your home practice, it's amazing because you don't need anything. It can be complete 100% lockdown, but you still have air and you still have cold water. So
Yeah.
you don't need to go to any gyms or anywhere. You don't need anything basically. You have the shower, you just
Yeah.
open the window, you have fresh air. So
Yeah.
you're ready to do it at home.
Yeah.
So I I didn't I did one-on-one sessions because that's safe, I think, but
Yeah.
I didn't do group workshops or
Right.
weekend workshops in spring. I did them in summer because the situation was more or less fine here. Now
Yeah.
again, I had to stop with the workshops, but it's also the time for myself to dedicate my time more to my practice. To like, I ordered two books about breathing yesterday because I know
Oh.
that I'm going to have more time for that, to learn more about, again, different kinds of breathing. So I'm not teaching that much, but I'm rather posting to Wim Hof Method groups or just sending to the ex-participants of my courses all the information that I can gather that can help them for their practice,
Mm.
etc.
Yeah.
And I did also an online session of Wim Hof Method breathing, but also only for the graduates of my workshops.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I have to be 100% honest, I'm afraid to do it online with people that I can't reach, that I can't come to and correct their breathing, because it can be extremely beneficial, but it can be also dangerous if you're not doing it properly. So if
Right.
I don't have them on my reach, I don't feel confident teaching. So for
Yeah.
now, here in Prague, it's one-on-one sessions and no group workshops, which is a pity, but yeah, it
Yeah,
is what it is.
I think it's really important. I'm sure you'd agree, Hannah, to reiterate to anyone looking to try the Wim Hof method or through the app, through Wim's videos is probably the best port of call from Wim Hof himself. And those videos he's released on his website, but that you should never ever do the Wim Hof technique in water. You should never combine going in water and then doing the hyperventilation breathing technique that the Wim Hof method does. It can be really, really dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you wanted to, if you signed up for a course that cannot take place these days, it's fine. If you do any kind of slow breathing technique, just try to learn how to breathe consciously, how to breathe
Yeah,
consciously. And
that's a great
you can just
start.
take
That's a fantastic start.
30, exactly, 30, 40 conscious inhales and exhales, and just observe the breath, the physiology of the breath,
Mm,
of maybe your thoughts, what you're thinking of. Maybe try to hold your breath, just check for how long you can do it. Just getting in touch with your breath is nice, because then you will enjoy the workshop more if you
yeah,
already know how to observe your breath, where it can actually travel in your body, what muscles you're using. And you can do this even without an instructor, you can just, observe yourself.
Become aware. Yeah.
It's actually quite fun to observe others because you can really see how people are breathing, and even that can help your practice, to
Yeah.
see, okay, he's breathing only in that part of the body. Am I breathing like that? I can check. I can, just like check physically.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of options that you can do, even if you're not confident regarding the Wim Hof method. It doesn't have to be this technique. Any technique, basically, just trying, for example, just trying to prolong your exhalation for 4 minutes or 3 minutes. You will feel so relaxed. You will feel so nice. And
Right.
here we go. That's one breathing technique that you
Right,
can try.
exactly. Yeah,
Zero risks there, basically. So
yeah. I'd love to gain a little insight into your personal practice. I'm never quite sure with even myself. I love doing the Wim Hof method, and I use the Wim Hof app. Personally, I think it's a brilliant app. It's so accessible. It's simple. It's Wim Hof himself guiding you through it. They're really simple but very powerful instructions there. But I never quite know how often I should be doing the Wim Hof technique. Is it an everyday thing? Or is it like a once a week thing? And what do you do personally?
So it depends. If you're fine and you just want to stay healthy, then you don't need to do it every day. But if you want to deal with some chronic issue like chronic pain or autoimmune disease, then at least for a couple of weeks or months, I would recommend to do it every day.
Yeah.
Because then you really need to go deep into the chemistry, deep into pH of your blood, of those stress hormones, etc. So there I would go for it every single day. With my own practice, so I would basically do almost every morning, 5 or 6 times per week. I would do the breathing right in the morning. I would go for 3 cycles, usually 3 cycles, and that takes me around 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I don't like cold in the morning. A lot of people would go straight to the cold shower after the breathing.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I feel tired afterwards in the morning.
Right.
But I love it in the afternoon or in the evening.
Oh, okay.
So I would either have cold shower, or now that it's autumn here, I can go actually outside to the lake or to the river, or I can go to my barrel. I can actually show it. I'm not sure if you're gonna
Really?
see it,
Awesome.
but it's there in the back.
Yeah, I see the barrel. Cool. For anyone listening to just the audio, Hannah's
I
showing
got this barrel and I have
amazing
water
big
there.
wooden barrel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 240 liters. So I have this outside and I would go now in autumn, almost every day because the water is around 10 degrees and that's fine. But in winter, when it's cold outside and when the water is colder, I would go 3 times a week. For me, that would be enough. If I go more, it's not giving me energy, it's taking me energy. And I needed
that's the tipping point, right?
I needed 2 years to learn this because either sometimes it's ego, all your friends go every day. Sometimes it's like, okay, I want to train, I want to get better in this. And I could do it for a couple of weeks, but I would start to feel really, really tired after a couple of weeks of winter swimming every single day.
Right.
So yeah, autumn, I can do cold every day. I love to do cold every day. In winter, I have to be a bit more careful about it because it's more intense. So I need a smaller dose of it.
Right. So, like you said, it's all about the dose and it's all about becoming aware and conscious of what dose works for your body. It sounds kind of like a trial and error system almost, of finding what works for you, for what you are intending to get out of the Wim Hof practice. Like you said, if you're just looking for more energy or more resilience, or if you're actually really working through something a lot deeper than that.
Yeah. And also you learn a lot. For example, I'd say if you're starting with cold, do cold shower every day for a 30 seconds or 1 minute. And during those 3 weeks, you will learn when it actually suits you, that maybe if you had a hard day, you like cold. at the end of the day, and it cleans your head and so on. Or when you wake up in the morning, you're tired, you take cold shower and you feel great. Because I can't tell you whether it's going to be A or B. You have to learn for yourself. So
Right.
at the beginning, it's nice to go for 3-4 weeks every day and just see when it works for you. Because a lot of people learn, for example, that it doesn't work for them in the evening
Mm.
because they are so energized that they can fall asleep after.
Right.
Others that have issues with sleep, for example, do it only in the evening because it's sweet in the
Ah,
evening, you know?
right.
So you actually learn that you can really use it as a tool. I'm stressed or I'm angry, I take cold shower.
Right.
Or I'm tired, I do the breathing. You know, you just learn where to put it in the day, when to do it, when not to do it. You really need to just, Wim says feeling is understanding. And I'm not
Right.
saying that it's the only thing that you need to pay attention to, but it really is a very important thing.
Yeah, makes
So
sense. Makes
your
sense.
body will tell you. It
Yeah.
will tell you when it wants the cold. So just give it the space and
Yeah.
opportunity to ask for a cold.
Yeah, such an importance on removing the ego from that breathing, from any breathing practice,
Mm,
really, and just remembering to listen internally to actually what you're intending to gain from that breathing practice in the first place. Because it should never be a gain from
yeah,
outside of yourself, right? It should always be for you and for the balance of yourself internally in whatever you believe, whether that's quite scientific and you want to balance the pH of your blood, or you want to balance your parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system, or perhaps you're from a more spiritual realm and you feel you want to connect, with a higher consciousness, or delve deeper into yourself. There can be so many incredible benefits, can't there, of it? But I do think that's
yeah,
important to really channel your intention for doing a breathing practice, because it's also going to help you choose the right breathing practice for you, just like Hannah's been saying, of course.
exactly. And also it will help you to stick to a method that you pick
Mm,
because often they're not comfortable. Like it doesn't have to be Wim Hof method, but for example, this one, it's a huge doses of discomfort. So if you don't know why you're doing it, it's not that you will lose interest in it, but it will be so uncomfortable that you eventually will stop doing it because if you don't have the answer, why am I doing this, then should you, right?
right.
And breathing is the same thing. You need some energy, some time to dedicate to it. You could do something else, of course. Anyone could do something else.
Yeah.
But if you have that answer, I am doing this, I'm doing the breathing, I'm doing the cold because I want to get there, I want that, then it's going to be much easier.
Yeah.
And it's much more probable that you will stick to the practice.
Mm. What's next for you on your breathing journey post lockdown? I'm sure, but do you think you'll travel more with the Wim
Post
Hof
lockdown.
method and teach more internationally, or what are your hopes for the future?
So I'm teaching basically here in Central Europe, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and Poland.
Mhm.
We have amazing places where to practice the method, natural places, mountains, rivers,
Mm,
crooks,
wow.
lakes.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure if I need to go someplace else because the conditions are great. Like
Yeah.
Wim picked Poland for a reason.
Yeah.
But I'd love to do more travels. I have a winter travel weekend planned for the mountains in the Czech Republic in December, and
Cool.
then maybe teaching in Poland in January. That's amazing because you are with the group of people for a couple of days, you get to know them better,
Yeah.
but also you see the progress,
Mm,
because the first ice can be real fearful, it can be scary, it can be hard, but straight the second one can be super simple, and it's such a
wow.
satisfaction to be able to observe that, to
Yeah.
see how people are progressing within really like 50 hours.
Mm.
So I'd love to do that. I really hope that December will be calmer of the
Oh,
pandemic
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that
I hope
I
so
will be
too.
able to teach it hopefully.
Yeah, best Christmas present ever,
Yeah.
right? For COVID to just calm down a little bit.
Yeah,
100%. And
would be great. Yeah.
where can people find you if people want to connect with you? Are you on Instagram? And where are your
Yeah,
workshops?
Instagram.
Of course, we're talking post-pandemic for workshops because they are in person. But for anyone looking in the future to connect with you and join you for a Wim Hof workshop, where
Yeah.
can they find you?
So yeah, I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram as well. I
Uh-huh.
have my webpage, but that one is in Czech, so I don't think that will be helpful. But
Yeah.
I'm not even like creating new workshops for now because I'm just waiting
Of
to
course.
see what
Yeah.
happens. So most of the workshops will probably take place in the second part of winter, January, February, March. I was supposed to do winter travel in Iceland this year, but I
Oh,
canceled that for obvious reasons as
no.
well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone is interested in the workshop, or I forgot to show you the book,
Ah,
then
amazing.
yeah, they can reach me on social media.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so
is your book
yeah,
available to us in the UK yet?
so we're actually quite struggling to find a distributor for England, for Britain. So it's not there. We had it on Amazon for a while, but that was just German Amazon, not the British one.
Right.
So for now, you would need to order it from Slovakia. But
Okay.
I wrote it in English, so English is
Oh,
the original
great.
language, so it's available in English.
Great.
And yeah, it's short. It's
Yeah.
tiny.
It looks
It's around
awesome.
130 pages.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, I'll put all those details in the show notes underneath, and I'll see if I can find that Slovakian link so people don't have to be searching around for it, because I'm sure many people are dying to read your book. I know I am. I'd absolutely love to read through your in detail experience on that first week with Wim Hof. Hannah, it's been incredible chatting to you. I'm so grateful for you taking the time to come and share your breathing journey with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I had amazing time drinking my tea here outside. So
It
thank you
looks
too.
beautiful. Yeah, 100%. Thank you.